All right. Hey, everybody. It's North Star Ball with a little out of order today, but we have black giant force cards to talk about. And it should be really quick because black got like no cards compared to the rest of the set.
Yep, be on the lookout for our yellow card review. We just wanted to make sure that we had our resident slug player with us because he is one of the best players in our scene and is very knowledgeable on slug.
Yeah. So today you're stuck with Dane and I again.
Woohoo!
And we'll just jump right to it because it should be pretty quick.
Pretty fast one.
Yeah. So we got some vanillas. No 110k vanillas this time for black. But we do get some really good names for the 20 and 30k.
Some notable stuff that you can do. Goku. It's Goku Xeno is not as good of a name, but it is still a evolve target for both the ISR and the new 5-drop from set 11. It's 3 or less, which is a really weird thing. I guess they just don't want it to evolve on itself, but you can still play it. So something like Mono Black Kitku could be looking into something like this. Likewise, Vegeta is really good because it's a Vegeta Xeno, so you can Vegex. And because it's a skillless card, I think people are kind of overlooking this. As a skillless card, you could now run a Vegex package in Kidku, and it would be pretty viable because you could be running Dimension Support Trunks to play the Vegeta. And so you get for 3 energy, or for 1 energy, you get a 20k crit and then a 15k body. And then you fuse on top of them into your double striker that grabs back a card out of your warp. So just having targets that are actually important is going to be very relevant.
Yep. And then we included Super Dragon Flash in here because it goes with vanilla support. Pretty good in the draft format, but not constructed because it's just too expensive.
Is take this out of the thing when you edit it. Sorry. Can you hear the music in my background?
No.
Okay, my roommate just started playing music. All right. Just go ahead and start talking about Super Dragon Flash when you're ready.
Yeah. So it negates, which is really good in draft, and plays a black skillless card, costs 3 or less from your hand. Oh, it has to be in your hand, so that's even more worse than I
This
thought.
is a -3 in hand to play
Yeah.
130k body. In draft, this card will be good because energy is more precious in draft, but in constructed, where energy is less precious than cards in hand, this card will not be very good. I think if it literally just said negate the attack and then play a vanilla Sun Goku card, that would have been fine. Like from hand, at least.
Hmm.
But because of the discard, you already have to run a 0/0 and then run it like this. So I don't think it's that great.
No. And then the next card we have Sengoku Changing History. Uh,
Just
it's
just kind of put it here.
it's the Mai for black. And this I was one that was not really upset about these cards at all. Like not super upset. Because I'm not really a blue player, but I am upset that this isn't locked to black only, and now you can run 8 of the counter hate
If you so choose.
if you choose. Like if Baby or a deck like Baby was the top deck of the format, like it just wouldn't exist. But Baby
So
is only like tier 1.5 or 2.
yeah, I think it's at best 1.5, but it's
Yeah,
probably tier 2.
yeah. So not as bad, but like now you can run 8. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Next we got some
Wait,
Goten and Trunks.
I
What?
thought that said Ghost Warrior Turles. Is that not what that card
Wait,
says?
wait, wait. Let me see.
It doesn't say Ghost Warrior Turles. Am I wrong?
Overall, no. Close. It's
Um,
very close.
yeah, this card is just Turles, kind of. Like, obviously, it's not quite as good, but The only reason it's not quite as good is because it's around for only one turn.
Yeah, it's Overwhelm, and you have to pitch a card to restand. I think Turles did that, but Turles also gained 5k.
Yeah, but Turles went from 10 to 15.
Oh, true.
So it's kind of like Turles again. Presuming that one day we get a Xeno Gotenks,
Pretty viable.
this is probably a better name than Turles, but right now it doesn't mean a whole lot.
Well, also, now we talk about fusions. The vanillas, the Xeno Vegito probably could be coming up pretty soon. So we saw his SCR. So we could see him soon too with the vanillas up top too. Now, but I just got reminded
Mm-hmm.
about that. But anyways, Trunks changing history. Overall 4 for 2.
Play it
Another
three
black
or
skillless.
yeah. So this is just kind of weird because it's like it's not better than dimension support. It's just different. Costs an extra energy is overwhelm 4 as opposed to 3, and then it's a 20k, but it doesn't give the card crit, but it can play a 30k. Um,
And it also
unfortunately,
stays skillless, so like um, if that's more your strategy, because if when you give it crit, it's not skillless anymore, so you can't
yeah,
like 4-star balls.
yeah, $4 or boost it. But like it also only plays black ones, which is kind of not good because then they have 0/0 as opposed to 0/5. For combo power. And then lastly, you can play it from your warp as opposed to just from your deck.
Yeah, that's
I
really
know an
nice.
issue with dimension support trunks is that in any deck that isn't Kidku, you're usually not willing to run more than like 3 or 4 skillless, and if you draw them, then the trunks has just become dead too.
Yep. Also really nice. It's a Trunks. So I guess you have 2 routes to go for the Vegito, Vegex plays that we talked about earlier.
Good names.
Good names. Next we got a little bit of Demigra looking. It's like all 3 forms of Demigra.
Mm-hmm.
I guess we talk about the battle card first.
Sure. This is like one of the best cards draft has ever had, just because it's so many options.
I think it's like the most options we had on a card besides Unisons.
I mean, it's definitely up there. Um, It's 3, and they're all very different too. So you have a removal effect, which in draft is great because being able to swing leader and then still remove something, very powerful. Um, you can pump yourself with a non-resource because in draft you just shuffle your deck back in. So you become a 2-drop 20k, which is the same thing as playing a vanilla, but it doesn't cost specific energy. And then you can also self-awaken, but in that case you have to return it to your hand at the end of the turn.
Yeah, so all of it's pretty good. Evil Wizard trait. There's some fun stuff you can do with Android 13 AOD, and like you could run this in some weird AOD build. But that's all I can think of outside of just generic Overwhelm support.
Mm-hmm.
True Power Unleash. Activate, draw a card. Whoa. Those are fighting
Uh,
words.
I mean, it's a good card in draft.
Yeah,
4-drop removal and draw a card. But every other in sealed this card or in constructed
yeah.
this card is not going to see any play.
4/2 that doesn't like do anything from the drop, or it's just a minus in hand. No, it does not a
Mm-hmm.
minus. It's not even a plus in hand.
Yeah, it's just
So
even.
just even and warp a card. Like for yeah, I might
In
as well
in
like
in in draft,
max.
that's what we have to remember is that
Yeah,
these
in
they are
draft it's
getting
pretty
better.
good.
They are getting better at creating these for draft.
Yeah, which is what we want because then we don't get like super expensive cards that are
Mm-hmm.
very annoying to get once draft becomes short printed or out of print because there's no demand I guess for our game, but whatever.
Boilingberg.
Bollingberg.
What a
Whoa.
weird card name.
Just reminds me of Bergie or locals.
It's not a bad card. Um, you can basically just 1 energy kind of time lock an opponent's threat. Um, it's just gone, and then they play it with their skills negated. So like
Yeah, so
you
no
get
put in play
to
effects.
no put in play effects, and then if they have a floating effect or whatever, you could remove it. The issue is that if they have a floating effect, you already probably triggered it by removing it in the first place.
Hmm. Yep. Does it negate then warp or just warps?
It doesn't. What do you mean negate? No, it just warps, and then it negates when it puts it back in.
Yeah, yeah. So don't use this on like Sin Shenron or something like that.
Or go tanks.
That's bad. Or Go Tanks, because they would get the remove from battle area effect, and then they just come back. I
Mm-hmm.
think to note, end of turn effects like will happen. Like I guess like Yamcha the Lawless. If you hit him, he would get this draw too at the end of the turn.
Is that how that works?
Negated for the turn. Well, it's negated for the
Because
turn.
I was playing Sin Shenron like, with Roshi yesterday, and he says at the end of your turn, draw one.
Is it? Maybe I'm confused. Maybe it's end of turn and until end of negate for the turn. Oh, I get confused. Maybe I am wrong. I might be wrong. I feel like I'm wrong.
I have no clue. Either way, it's a fine card, but not great. But like, is if there's like a blocker or something in draft, this will help deal with it.
Yes. There's
Cool.
quite a big one in blue green.
All right. So
All right, we already know about the 30K. When we did our old draft review, uh,
mhm.
we know he's really good for Doc Broly because he's a 30K.
So we can just talk about the dude that plays him.
Yeah.
You have to like spend it a little bit harsher, and then you don't get the draw and a warp a battle card on play. But this Demigra lets you play. There's a couple different Demigras that have a five cost energy.
The
Most
ultimate box
notably,
one.
I was gonna say that one's the most notable one because at 30, it's a 20, I think 25k triple strike, and then it combos with every one of your opponent's battle cards that are already in play, ignoring barrier.
Yeah, it's board wipe plus big damage. Like that's actually kind of insane.
Uh-huh. So I mean, this it could literally just see play because of that. The biggest issue is that it's a 110k, so it's kind of dead the rest of the time. But other than that, good card.
Hmm.
Um, and then you can just literally play this. You can basically it lets you play that card for like one. So like it's
Right.
just super strong. The issue
Which
is that you have to play the Demigra, and then it has to stay on board, and then you have to attack with it. So like if your opponent has any sort of removal, then just be kind of tough, you know. You feel?
oh yeah. I missed that part.
Um,
I was just rereading it because it's a weird auto cost.
Timing, yeah.
Yeah, really weird worded card, but no, it makes sense because to get it off, like you have quite the boss at the end of the turn, but you have to deal with, or else they're gonna combo your whole board, or this Demigra is pretty strong because he just starts ripping cards out of the opponent's hands.
Yeah. I think this is probably one of the chase cards in the set, along with like Piccolo and maybe some yellow and green cards. But specifically, this card is just so strong, both on its own, like 2 energy to rip a card 30k is still really good. But then the Dark Overwhelm is really strong, um, being able to stay. But I do have one complaint about it, and you're going to hate me for pointing it out.
Hit me with it.
That his jaw is not supposed to be blue.
Oh, it's Frieza back from hell over again. Oh God.
Ugly.
Bandai. That could be a Dokkan Battle thing or something.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so really good card. I don't think we have to spend too much time. People should be pretty aware of how strong this is.
Yeah, like Dark Broly's gonna love it. Toa, I think would you run in Toa?
Maybe as a two of, but the issue is that I don't want to give them any cards. So even that one out of my life, because I can usually, I mean, I guess it's a good idea, but it's just hard because the energy curve isn't really there.
Okay.
You
Yeah,
really
you're
only
right.
ever
You're
want
right.
to overwhelm 3 every turn,
I
and
guess to
you want to.
also point out the ultimate deck that comes out in January it's black, so maybe like hold on to this card once you get it, kind of thing.
Mhm.
Cool.
And last one,
Toa. She's the only super rare unison in the set, I believe, because the other ones were uncommon. They were all
yep,
uncommon, right? And then the giant force
uncommon or the
rares.
giant force.
So we talked about her once before. Dane was not a big fan. I was thinking Chiite.
Yeah, I'm more positive on her now, but I'm still not like thinking she's great. So if anything, she could be a 3/4 energy. Um, Steal a card
And we already know how good that is in with
like
Mechikabura.
with Mechikabura. Like that can be really powerful because it removes something while giving you a threat, and then it's also her own 20k body. So the issue, I think, the best synergy is going to be able to be like play her for 3, play an overwhelm card that warps one of their other cards, and then steal a big card.
Yeah,
But that's just asking a lot of setup for quite a few cards in your deck, because that means you'll have to run dedicated removal overwhelm slash energy cards, I guess, um,
5 skill. Okay.
or the -4. So
I think
it's fine.
also we gotta point out that like any color can run this too.
Yes, that's a
Uh,
really big piece.
like even at 4, like is pretty big if you're like ahead and just like need to get something like whatever your opponent's relying on the board. Or even if you're
4.
behind, like even for 3, like we said, you can play for 3, and it's anytime you KO by a skill or removed from a battle area by a skill or KO'd, and like every
If
color
your
has
opponent
something to do.
or KOs themselves.
Yeah, or yeah, it's both turns also because it's an auto.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
So
not as bad as we initially thought, but I think once we like get her in decks and see what kind of decks we want to put her in.
I think in something like Hatchiyak, she'll just do a lot of work,
Yeah.
but we'll see. Because I think Hatchiyak right now is just running 4 Piccolo, and so you could run 4 Piccolo and like 2 of her just as like an alternate, because Hatchiyak sometimes can't really spend its energy efficiently, because if you're playing against like Trunks or the Vegeta counterplay,
Hmm.
then you just play like the 8-drop Hatchiyak, and you're just kind of like SOL because you can't spend 4 reliably or can't spend 5 reliably.
Right. And then she also had the discard a card from hand's pretty nice to feel the drop for you pretty early. Cool. Yeah,
Mhm.
like we said, it's that's it for black. They don't
Mhm.
even get a giant force rare card. No giant Demigra unison. Kind of
Black
sad.
really got left behind this one. Like 2 SRs, every other color got like 5 or
What
6.
last set they had some good ones like Koitsukai. Last draft box they had like Koitsukai.
Koitsukai,
Um,
Analyza, was that it?
they had the whole U3 chain, I guess, which is strong enough. But I think actually Super Rares that might have been it. Oh, Power Protect the People.
Protect other people.
Not even a scratch was in there.
That was a rare, yeah.
Yeah, and even the
But there were
Seppo.
still way more black cards in the last draft box. But
Yes.
also, in general, there were more cards because each color used to have 30, and now it's just 10.
Yeah, this set's smaller. Giant. Hopefully, Giant Force. Oh, well, I guess we'll wait till we get the Giant Force words. But I'm hoping there's more than 3 in a box.
My guess is that it's 3, though. That's just
Yeah,
always how those kind of campaign rares are.
that's true.
Yeah, I think that's going to be it all for today. Thanks for watching. Be on the lookout. I know we're a little behind for yellow, and then Giant Force Rares would have been done today. But our plan right now is to record some more over the weekend. Hopefully, try to get our resident slug player to give us some insight and let us know what you guys else want to see. Please check out deck profiles for the first time the last couple weeks.
Yeah, our
Uh,
locals has been doing really well. Everyone's wearing masks. We're safe, social distancing, watching up. but like everyone, we got games.
17 people
18.
yesterday. 18 people at a Thursday night weekly
Yeah, that was weird. It was great.
in Minnesota, by the way, middle of nowhere, just so you're all aware. Minnesota's the middle of
Yep,
nowhere.
and that is
We just only
still
have 18-man locals in the middle of COVID.
it's still the under our limit for the building because the building's bigger. So like we're
Yay.
everything is good. Yeah, have a good one. Stay safe, everyone.